Alright guys, so the day has come and I'm finally changing my clutch. And it happens to be 26 out and snowing. So got my coveralls on, got the torpedo heater going. So I got my tranny jack here. Have a board that's already cut to fit a G56. I just got some tools laying out. I believe it's 15 millimeter to take the bolts out. I don't remember. It's been 2.5 years. I know it helps if you have swivels or swivel sockets. A bunch of extensions. I mean, you can do it with hand tools, but it's obviously a lot easier with impacts. I don't remember what you got to use to take out the shifter boot and stuff, but I'll figure that out when I get up there. But I'm gonna go start tearing it apart. Oh guys, guess I am that neighbor. I'm pulling my transmission on my front sidewalk. This is not the first one I did it. I did it in my white Mega Cab 2 that I used to have. But, yep, this is the only flat spot I have that is sort of level to do it on. Alright guys, so in here, these boots, they just kind of clip in place. You just pick up on them. Of course, same with the four-wheel drive. I mean, you might have electronic four-wheel drive or you may have manual. You just pick up on them. There's a bolt here. One in that cup holder. There might be more. That's just the first two I found. I'm gonna start pulling them out. Alright guys, so it was just them two bolts. It just unclips up front. Then you just kind of wiggle it out over this boot, pull it out. Next, you're going to take this front piece of trim. It also has two bolts, one here and one right here. It'll pull this front piece out, which that'll give you access to pull this. If yours has the rear HV or HVAC vents, it'll give you access to pull this out. And then it'll also give you access to get down in here to the switch's hat or whatever you want to call it, to unscrew it, and then you should be able to get in to pull your shifter out. So start pulling these bolts out. Okay guys, so this front trim piece, it obviously won't come the whole way off unless you take the shift knob off to pull this leather piece off. The HVAC vent, which is no longer in there, it just pulls up and out. This piece, it holds sort of the insulating boot. It just unbolts and pulls up out, and then you have the actual piece that holds your shifter in. It's got a like an inverted Torx, which it looks like my trans was leaking around there. I gotta go grab the Torx set so I can unbolt that and pull the shifter out. Now, I leave the truck in neutral whenever I tear it apart. That way when you go to put it back together, you have no trouble sliding that input shaft back in, which I do trust the parking brake on this truck, but I still will chalk it just in case. shifter looks like. I just stick a rag down in there to keep that stuff from falling in. And there's what the shifter looks like. I also use your rubber rag around it for the same reason. But next we'll start underneath. Alright guys, first thing you do underneath is pull your dry shaft out. 15mm bolts, pulled it out. I only have a single dry shaft considering my screw cap short bed. Some of you guys have a 2-piece dry shaft with the carrier bearing and everything underneath, which they're more of a pain in the butt to get out than this. This one's just pretty simple. Alright guys, might be a little hard to hear me over the heater, but first thing I gotta do is remove this skid plate here that connects to the transmission cross member and the cross member that holds up the def tank and the fuel tank and stuff. Then what I'm gonna have to do, I can move around here, is stick a jack, not the tranny jack, floor jack underneath this transfer case to hold up on it while I remove the cross member here. Drop it down. Then I will take the transmission jack and get it underneath the transmission to start unbolting the transmission. I also have to undo the front drive shaft here, so then when I get it unbolted, I can pull the transmission out, which you can see my shifter must have been leaking for a little bit because it's got fluid all over it. So I'm going to start getting this skid plate off and stuff, start getting it tore apart. Alright guys, so I got the tranny cross member out of the way. These are 15/16 bolts, or sockets and wrench. These are 15mm. There's 3 across there. Make sure you take the wiring harness off. Got a jack supporting that. Getting ready to bring the jack in underneath here. Hold this up. Then I can take that jack out. Then I'll be able to start unbolting the transmission to slide it back. Got to make sure you undo, if you have manual 4-wheel drive, you got to make sure you undo the linkage for the shifter. If you have electronic, you got to unplug it, which I believe there is still wiring on these transmissions anyways, in the transfer cases. But we're not going to slide it back that far because the def tank and stuff's in the way. So there might be a little bit of room to leave the wiring on, I'll see. You got to make sure you take the dry shaft off like I said earlier. Yep, I'm going to get to it because it's snowing again. Alright guys, so I took a little break. Got my clothes washed and dried. I was soaked clear through. My shirt, my undershirts and everything were muddy and everything. I have one bolt tight still and the transmission up on top. And then I just got 2 loose ones to just hold it in place when I get that one loose and out down at the bottom. And then I will pull the transmission out. So I'm going to grab a ratchet that I can reach it from the top, get it out, and then I'll pull the transmission out. Alright guys, so I finally got my transmission down and out, and not gonna lie, I actually pulled 2 dead mice out of that bell housing, and you can see all the crap that's inside that flywheel and clutch pack. So apparently they had a nest inside that transmission bell housing. I have no clue why. There's like a bunch of little round balls and stuff inside the transmission bell housing I'm gonna have to clean out, but I'm gonna start taking the bolts out of this and start getting it pulled down. So the transmission is still really tight here, I'd have to drop the def tank cross member to get it any further out of the way, or lift the truck even higher, which I have my jack stands maxed out, but I'll be able to get it moved around so that I can get it out. No big deal. So I'm going to start taking the bolts out. It's been hours, and I really wish I either had a body camera on or a GoPro, or my GoPro on, because I fought and fought with this. My transmission jack is really hating itself right now. It's probably the last time it'll be used. So we'll get this started, and then we'll get the other clutch put in. Alright guys, so clutch is out. Well, clutch part of it's out. Flywheel's still in there. So let me see if I can get the camera spun around here. Alright. Let's see if I can get a good angle on it. There's the flywheel. So that's a dual mass flywheel, which is the stock flywheel. And to get it out, you have to go up on the passenger side, which, if you look up, there's that inspection cover up there. You have to take that out to get to the bolts on the back side, which is what I'm going to do now. Alright guys, so there's one part of the flywheel. There's the other part still bolted up. Just got to take those bolts out. It'll be out. There's 8 of these bolts here, 15 millimeter. Like I said, you got to take them out of that inspection window over there. They're a pain in the butt, but that's only if you have a factory clutch in here. If somebody put maybe an aftermarket single disc whatever in, you don't have to do that. That's only for the factory dual mass flywheel and everything. But alright, we're gonna get that other piece of flywheel out. Alright, the air has out. I'm gonna go grab the new clutch and get ready to start putting it in. I still have to take the throw bearing and everything out of the inside of the transmission, but we'll start putting the new clutch in before we do that. Alright guys, here's the new clutch and flywheel assembly. It's a Valair dual disc. There's the part number. I believe it's rated for 650 horse. Truck will never see that. Well, at least I don't plan on it ever seeing that. I mean, I've had one that I never planned on it seeing that, and I ended up putting 150 horse injectors and a 64 millimeter turbo. But gotta break it down, take the clutch assembly off of it so I can bolt the flywheel in, then bolt this back on. Comes with your alignment tool, which just goes inside. There's the new pivot ball tool, or pivot ball arm, whatever you want to call it, fork. It goes in the transmission, new throw bearing. And then it also comes with new hydraulics kit. So I'm gonna get this broke down. I'm gonna mark where the studs are that are on it, because there's 2, which actually I don't think it really matters, but I'm gonna mark them anyways. But I'm gonna get it broke down, get ready to put the flywheel in. Got that apart. Now wash the junk. Alright, you'll see that kind of sprung up some. That's normal. I try to work them back and forth because of that. I marked both sides where the studs are. These are like a spline bolt. I forgot to mention that whenever I was videoing it. I just have a regular Craftsman spline set. I've actually had them for years, barely ever use them. My aunt got them on sale one time for Christmas one year for me, and they literally sit down there beside my toolbox. But get this pulled apart. And there's one disc. And put that off the side. Put the second piece up. Maybe. And there's the second disc. There's flywheel. So I'll take it down, put the flywheel on. Okay guys, flywheel's in. It'd be really nice to have a second set of hands. Same thing when you're putting the clutch pack in, which is next. Obviously I did it without another set of hands. I'm gonna put the clutch pack in without another set of hands. But it's definitely a lot easier when you have another set of hands. Because wrestling with that and no room at all, it is terrible. But it's doable. But gonna go grab that clutch pack and get it thrown in too. Alright guys, so the clutches are in, the pressure plate's in. Use the alignment tool. You put it in to both clutches before you put them up there. Put it into the flywheel. It's pretty self-explanatory for that. Again, it'd be nice to have two people. It's obviously doable. Next, I'm going to do the pivot fork and the throwout bearing. So, start on that. Alright, so inside your transmission, you have your throwout bearing, you have your pivot fork. So, you have to take this little clip off over here. Let's see if I can get it off one-handed. Whatever you do, don't break this clip. If you do, it does not work right. I found that out one time and had to tear it all back apart. And that just slides off. Now, for some reason, mine does not have a washer on it. Usually there's a washer on one of those pivot balls and you have to take it off when you do these double disc clutches. And it's usually on this one over here. But this one doesn't have it, so I don't have to take it off. Open this one here and on. There's a new throwout bearing. How the heck did I get stuff already all over this? Gotta peel this stupid sticker off, which pretty much just says to take that washer off that for some reason this truck doesn't have. problem solved. And then you just clip the pivot ball, or clip the throwout bearing into your pivot fork. If I can get mine in. So you just clip in. Wow, that one's really filthy. Yeah, just clips in. I don't know why this one doesn't want to slide in. They go which way? Towards your roughed up edge. I have to go get a screwdriver. Alright guys, after trying to use screwdriver, pliers, I ended up just trying to push it in and it literally just slid right in. So I'd try sliding it in first. That might be, you know, the way to do it. I put them in before and I couldn't honestly remember how I put them in. But it turns out you just literally just slide them in. So next up, we put this back up in here. Obviously we're changing the hydraulics, which bolt up in here. I have the factory one in still right now, which ain't gonna matter. Put this clip back on. Oh crap. I'll put this down for a second. Alright guys, got it back in. Now I'm ready to put the transmission back up in. Alright guys, so day number 2. I quit about 12 o'clock last night because, sad but true, I dropped a 15mm 3/8 dry socket down inside this transmission. I was using an extension to switch gears because I actually put it in reverse instead of first like I wanted, and I was taking the socket off the end of the extension and it for some reason it fell into the smallest hole ever instead of falling anywhere else in the cab. So I'm going to try to pull off this PTO plate to get inside the transmission to hopefully get that socket out. I have to drain all the fluid out so that I can get in there without hopefully making a huge mess. But we'll start draining that and hopefully not get covered in tranny fluid. Alright guys, so got my socket out. I had to use my magnet here. I went into that corner right there, back by the counter shaft gear, to get that out because it was further back than this cover. So note to self, keep everything away from that hole whenever you're working on it, because you do not want to have to try to get anything out of there. It was a squeeze to get that socket back out, but I got it out, so it's not a super big deal, but it could have been a lot worse, especially if you don't know if something falls in there or not. Alright guys, transmission's all back in, all that fun stuff. Next you need to change this master cylinder and slave cylinder. So you need a 13 millimeter here. Up here at your clutch pedal, you'll have, if I can get the camera to focus, you'll have these two studs on both sides here. They are 15 millimeter. You'll need to take both of those out. You'll have this clip here. You'll take it out. Pull this whole assembly out. Then you can install the new one. Got the whole interior back in too. Alright guys, so this is off your old master cylinder, slave cylinder. This is your switch that tells you that your clutch is pushed in to start the truck. You will have to take it off. All you do is pick up on this side and slide this off, and then you can take it off your old one. This you will have to mount it on your firewall, your reservoir. It's pretty much, you just throw it back in. You will have to adjust your rod here so that your clutch doesn't, release on the floor or release the whole way out. But it's pretty much the same as taking it out. I'm gonna get it thrown back in. Alright guys, got the slave cylinder and everything in. Got all my tools cleaned up. I'm just starting it up and take it for a test drive. Now, waiting to see if I actually have a service four-wheel drive or anything like that on, because at one time my tranny jack did give out on me and I broke the two transfer case pigtails, which I have the one on order and the other one the wire just pulled out of, so I'm going to be able to tear it apart and fix it. But for right now, I just have them kind of spade connected together. So I'm hoping that I don't have any lights on, but we'll see. And then I also broke the transmission reverse switch, but I got that replaced. O'Reilly's got me that in like a day. So hoping I got no four-wheel drive lights on, but we'll see. And of course I got a service four-wheel drive light on. But my pigtail should be here in a few days and I'll get that fixed. But overall the clutch isn't too noisy. Usually you get a little bit of chatter with the dual disc. I did add the extra quart of oil to the transmission. I actually changed it all since I had to get that socket out of there. Well, we'll take it on its first drive. There guys, so I'm gonna try to do this one-handed, but it's kind of dark and my GoPro doesn't want to cooperate. So we'll get a little bit of a video. Might try to get a better video whenever it's daylight out. Clutch is definitely a lot firmer. Still shifts really smooth. It's near real easy. good sign is it doesn't slip. I didn't put too much power down to it yet, since you're supposed to break them in within, I think, 500 miles. You're supposed to be easy starts, easy stops, and then you can start turning your program and stuff up. But might try to get another video during the day when you can actually see everything working. Alright guys, so clutch is in, truck runs pretty decent. Yeah, I do have a service 4-wheel drive light. My pigtail should be here next week to replace that one of my transfer case that got broke. I'd like to have showed you guys a little bit more of putting the transmission back in. I would like to have showed you guys a little more hands-on. My GoPro hasn't been cooperating real well with me. Probably gonna have to get another battery for it, or a new battery, something for it. Battery's just not holding up. More or less, when you guys are putting it back together, actually when you're taking it out too, just make sure your transmission is well balanced on that transmission jack. Make sure your transmission jack's actually capable of holding the transmission too. Make sure you're on level ground and everything. But yeah, I mean, when you're putting it back together, don't force it in or anything. Make sure you got it level with the engine. But you shouldn't have any issues. If you got any questions, ask. Comment down below. I'll be sure to answer it. But I got more stuff coming up. I just got my headache rack back yesterday from powder coat. My bumper brackets are here, front and rear. So hopefully I can get to painting them here soon once the weather starts getting a little bit better. Got some stuff to do in the wife's truck. Well, her new truck, which I should be showing you guys that here maybe next video or so. So I got more stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.